In the days leading up to Christmas, when many communities are preparing for worship, family gatherings, and quiet reflection, a very different conversation has begun to circulate, one filled with concern, warnings, and unanswered questions. A United States-based humanitarian group has publicly raised the alarm about alleged attacks on several Nigerian communities on Christmas Day. The warning quickly gained attention, not only because of its timing, but because of where it was delivered. A high-level meeting in Washington involving U.S. lawmakers and international religious freedom advocates. Almost immediately, Nigeria's presidency pushed back, dismissing the alert and questioning the motives behind it. At the same time, Nigeria's domestic intelligence agency quietly confirmed that it was already aware of the reported threat and had begun preventive operations. So now, Nigerians are left in a familiar but uncomfortable space between alarming external warnings, official reassurances, and a long history of violence during festive periods in parts of the country. This is not a story about certainty. It is a story about risk, trust, and how governments respond when intelligence, fear, and public communication collide. When you first heard about this story, what was your initial reaction? Let me know in the comments. Before we go further, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you value calm, fact-based analysis. To understand why this alert matters, we need to look at the broader background. Nigeria has faced persistent security challenges for more than a decade. These range from insurgency in the northeast to banditry and communal violence in the north-central region, often called the Middle Belt. Over the years, communities in Plateau State, southern Kaduna, and parts of Benue have experienced repeated attacks, many of them occurring around religious holidays. These incidents have often deepened tensions, especially where violence is perceived to be targeting specific ethnic or religious groups. The current warning came from Equipping the Persecuted, a US-based humanitarian organization that focuses on documenting attacks against religious minorities. Its founder, Judge Saul, raised the alarm during a roundtable in Washington attended by US lawmakers and international observers. According to participants, the discussion was part of ongoing concerns in the United States about Nigeria's worsening insecurity and allegations of targeted violence against Christian communities. What makes this moment different is not just the warning itself, but the reaction to it. While such alerts are sometimes shared quietly between governments, this one entered the public space quickly, triggering official denial, confirmation, and public debate almost at the same time. Do you think this issue could have been avoided if earlier decisions were handled differently? Share your thoughts below. Here are the key points that are confirmed, alleged, or still unclear. First, it is confirmed that Equipping the Persecuted raised a warning about alleged planned attacks during a meeting in Washington. Judge Saul stated that armed groups were regrouping around border areas linking Plateau, Nasarawa, Benue, and Kaduna states, with specific communities mentioned as potential targets on Christmas Day. Second, it is also confirmed that Nigeria's Department of State Services acknowledged awareness of the reported plot. DSS officials stated that intelligence had already been received and that preventive operations were underway. They also noted that festive periods have historically coincided with attacks in parts of the Middle Belt. Third, the Nigerian presidency publicly dismissed the alert. Presidential spokespersons questioned the credibility and motive of the organization and warned that such reports could create unnecessary panic. Which of these facts or claims do you find most troubling or most convincing? Why? From the viewpoint of advocacy organizations and some international observers, raising alarms early is seen as a preventive tool. Their argument is simple. Warning signs should never be ignored, especially in regions with a history of festive period violence. From this angle, public alerts can pressure authorities to act faster and allocate resources more aggressively. The strength of this perspective lies in its focus on prevention. However, critics note that public warnings can also increase fear and may lack full local context. The presidency's response reflects concern about public panic and national stability. From this perspective, unverified or externally sourced alerts, especially when made public, can unintentionally amplify insecurity. Security analysts often fall somewhere in the middle. Many argue that intelligence warnings should neither be sensationalized nor dismissed. Instead, they suggest governments acknowledge risks while reassuring the public through visible preparedness and clear communication. This approach values balance, but depends heavily on trust between citizens and institutions. Which perspective makes the most sense to you right now, and what do you think others are missing? If you appreciate balanced storytelling without shouting or propaganda, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. So, what could happen next? In the short term, security agencies may increase patrols, intelligence gathering, and surveillance in identified hotspots. This could reduce risk even if the alleged plot never materializes. Another possible outcome is heightened anxiety in affected communities. When warnings and denials clash publicly, people may feel uncertain about whom to trust, especially in areas with painful memories of past attacks. In the longer term, this situation could influence how Nigeria handles intelligence communication. Governments may become more cautious about responding publicly to external security alerts, while advocacy groups may push for greater transparency. There is also the international dimension. Continued attention from U.S. lawmakers could affect diplomatic engagement, foreign aid discussions, and Nigeria's global security image. Ultimately, the real impact will be measured not only by whether attacks occur, but by whether communities feel protected, informed, and respected during periods of heightened risk. If you were in charge, what would you prioritize first in dealing with this situation? Beyond this specific alert, the story touches on deeper issues. It highlights the challenge of governing in an environment where insecurity is persistent, trust is fragile, and information moves faster than official responses. It also raises questions about leadership communication. How much should governments say when intelligence is incomplete? How do authorities reassure citizens without exposing vulnerabilities? And how should external actors engage without appearing to interfere? This moment reflects a broader tension between transparency and caution, between public reassurance and operational secrecy. It reminds us that security is not only about force and intelligence, but also about credibility and confidence. For many Nigerians, especially in vulnerable regions, these debates are not abstract. They are tied to lived experience, memory, and fear. For more deep, thoughtful analysis like this, make sure you're subscribed and turn on notifications. As we step back, what we see is not a simple story of right or wrong, truth or falsehood. Instead, we see overlapping concerns about safety, responsibility, trust, and communication. A warning was raised. Authorities responded in different ways. Intelligence agencies say they are acting, even as political leaders urge calm. Whether this alert proves accurate or not, it has already revealed something important: how fragile the balance is between fear and reassurance in times of insecurity, and how much depends on how information is handled, not just what that information contains. So where do you stand on this issue now? Has your view changed after hearing the full context? Let's talk in the comments.